It is Wednesday, my dudes. Hello, welcome to the 50th episode of the Deep Fried Neurons podcast. And I am really glad to tell you that 242 YouTube subscribers and about 900-ish audio plays later, I'm still doing this. And I'm really glad that I am. And I have built an audience that is extremely wholesome. And I would just like to take a few names, people who have genuinely supported me through this podcast. And I'm doing this generally sometimes only for them so that they get to hear an episode. Lobhas Ramatkar, Nachiket Karandikar, and Paras Sharma, along with a few names here and there like Tanmay, who tells me about my podcast sometimes. Dhruv, who texts me about my podcasts and videos from time to time. And if it wasn't for you guys, this podcast would not be possible. And I'm really happy I'm still doing this. This episode is just called Tangents because all I do with two podcasters who I have the same wavelength with is go off tangents on this episode. I hope you enjoy that. I also summarize a few experiences I've had over the last year podcasting. And I hope you enjoy that. So I'm gonna just cue the fucking... Hello everyone, welcome to the 50th episode of Deep Fried Neurons podcast. And today I don't actually have any content, as you can see in the title. So I brought my friends along. Say
Hello.
Hi guys.
Hi.
We are people.
We are bad.
And don't make me say it. Don't make me plug our show on his show. Like, it feels cheap. We're bad in Bollywood. Please subscribe.
I'm Yashasvi.
I'm Karan. And thank you for having us on. I feel special. I feel honored that you had us on for your 50th podcast.
Happy 50, man.
Hey, thank you.
50th podcast.
I mean, you guys are technically my first collaboration.
I mean, we did DM you, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't slide into the DMs, it's not a collab.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Mm.
Is the link in the bio? Maybe the link in the bio is the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. I'm just gonna set the scene up for the audience. It's me, Karan, who's sipping Starbucks, like the capitalist pig he is.
Don't call me out like that. There's a Starbucks that's open right next to his place, and it's just very convenient. No one knows about it, which is nice. It's a Starbucks it's an indie Starbucks. No one's found out about it. There's two people in there.
Did he just say indie Starbucks?
Yeah. Worse, he doxed us. Yeah.
Fuck. Now everyone can triangulate our location based on Starbucks.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, anyway. Also, there's Sniper playing in the background. I mean, I played Sniper before. They're just looking at it.
I feel like it's pointed at me. As we're watching it.
Karan's got this... he got this existential crushing realization that he's been missing out on computer games after watching this.
Dude, they are so good. Man, these kids, these kids these days, because I'm 40. These kids, man, they really stepped it up to a different level.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe if you guys got off your phones and saw the world and stuff, then maybe there'd be change in the world, Stop complaining. Stop being on your phone.
Destroy the environment like a real generation, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. I will leave the economy in shambles for you. What are you doing? You're just making some really good video games. Okay.
I'm going to destroy everything you love.
Mm-hmm.
We're not Joaquin Phoenix and the Joker. Anyway.
No, we're just a bunch of angsty doomers. That's who we are. Let's be real, guys.
Boomer versus doomer.
Yeah. Also, I should tell everybody that the 49th episode isn't recorded yet.
I wasn't gonna... You told me this. I wasn't gonna say anything. I was like, I'm just gonna buy into this thing, go 50th. But now that you've said it, it's out there now.
I just believe in being honest with my audience.
Blowing your load on the 49th episode instead of the 50th.
I think the 49th is in our hearts. So 50th is out, vomit out of our mouth.
Well, also, I did upload a video today, so...
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, that counts. And, we just wanted to go off on tangents, which all of us are experts in.
Oh, boy.
There's a reason our podcast is, sometimes goes 1 hour, 40 minutes. And that is usually either me drooling over some actor or, just going off on random tangents about actors' moms and stuff. It's really strange.
Well, to be fair, whenever I'm on your podcast, I just drool over those actors with you.
Yeah, Chandrachud for life. You know.
Yeah.
And talking about Farida Jalal for like 3 minutes, which I mean is reasonable, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, in some universe, that's considered. I don't know. What am I saying?
Farida Jala. I mean, if you had to rank.
So this is a real thing, okay? Karan, in terms of ranking mothers, not just in Bollywood, in life, will rank Jaya Bachchan higher than his own mother.
Yeah, my mom's third. So she's up there.
Okay, who's second?
She's up there. Farida's second.
Farida second. Okay,
mean,
I would
they-
put Farida
they've built,
first.
they've had so many sons. With my mom, it's just me and my brother. Like, I feel like experience-wise on your resume as a mom, like, they put in some work. And I feel like with Jaya, she's put in some quality. Like, she's been the mom to Shah Rukh and Ritik. That's lethal. That's like next level combo.
Yeah, those are like that's two
I mean-
giga chads.
And
Yeah.
in the middle of like a garba going on, she can sense when her sons come home via helicopter.
That was the smell of cocaine
It was, wasn't it?
which she had ready on the thali. I don't want to make this a
Please
movie
edit that
podcast, but I do want to.
It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna put it in. That's beautiful.
So cue the fucking.
Well, it's been cued already. If we're talking.
Okay.
I don't want it to be a Bollywood podcast, but I just want to ask your opinion on, like, if you had to rank moms in movies in general, who's your, like, number one mom? I'm not going to put your mom into it, like, just like moms in general. Number one Bollywood mom.
Number one Bollywood mom.
Oh, actually, go Hollywood as well.
Go Hollywood. I don't know any moms in Hollywood actually.
Yeah, everyone's divorced, so.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Ouch. Shots
Ouch.
fired.
Kidding. By the way, like, whatever you choose to do with your marriage is not my prerogative, but I'm
I
just
think
saying.
Rekha's like
Rekha.
second. Yeah. Like Rekha's got fewer mom jobs, but
Yeah, I mean,
Rekha's got some other
Abhishek's
jobs.
mom in real life, so.
I'm just gonna put that out.
Man, do you think about, like, Rekha? I'm trying to think, what was she a mom in specifically? Because I mean,
Dude,
koi
koi
mil
mil
gaya,
gaya.
dude.
absolutely,
Exactly.
She had that epic scream that we still talk about. Her scream when she falls on her pregnant stomach
Oh yeah.
is like blood curdling, and it's like she's giving that movie way too much. Like,
Like Alia Bhatt in the new Manyavar ad.
yeah,
I get emotional when I watch that.
I kind of felt kind of cringe. Like I couldn't.
Oh, it is cringe, but
Emotional cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alia Bhatt is giving it too much of a performance. Like, I'm like, the lines are not warranting this crying that you're doing.
Okay, I'll draw a parallel here.
Okay.
Watching Alia Bhatt in the Manyavar ad is like listening to My Chemical Romance at the age of 22. It's emotional, but it's cringe. Like it's the perfect mix.
I said, but also, like, My Chemical Romance knowledge is not great. I was gonna say My Chemical Romance, but then I just went with one My. I don't know if that works. But I just, like, yeah, my knowledge about their music is not that great.
Oh,
But also, I enjoy Nickelback sometimes, so who am I to say
that's fair.
what's good and what's not?
I mean, I did have an MCR phase.
How old are you again?
I'm 25.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Okay.
completely fair.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah. Even mine was a while ago.
Yeah, mine's a while ago too. It was yesterday. Nickelback was just, it was on. Whatever. It was, what's that song? The Chad Kroeger, like, Santana,
Into the Night.
Into the Night. I'm so into the night.
Anyway, going on a tangent, since we're on a tangent podcast, Nickelback copyright strike the fucking president.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I heard.
That is big balls, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an epic gamer moment. Like if I ever seen one.
If there was a bro moment that I had to, like my favorite one this month at least, it's that.
It's
But
pretty
also-
good.
But also, like, it was for their worst song objectively. Like, the photograph.
Hey, I mean,
Oh,
we
look
got
at
the
this
iconic vine.
photograph.
We got the iconic vine.
Look
for
at
that.
this graph.
And it turns into like this minor scale, and it's just looking into his fucking soulless eyes, which are just packed with cocaine and hatred for himself at this point.
Wait, Trump or?
No.
You never know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, did you know he ended up marrying Avril Lavigne?
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe it balanced out the music levels. Because I rate Avril Lavigne, right? I think she's good.
I mean, she was.
I mean,
She
he was a boy and she was a girl.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, you know what? Interestingly, that song was about her ex-husband who was the lead of Sum 41.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is just
He was the skater boy.
I thought the Seether, some guy from Seether. Oh no, that was Evanescence.
Yeah, that was Evanescence.
Yeah.
They're all the same. They're all
How
one
dare
band.
you.
They're all like, no, well, not all of them, but I think for specifically like Creed, Pearl Jam.
3 Doors Down.
Pearl Jam is like the peak of it, but Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder did this voice where he's like, "Where's open?" And then like everyone did that voice. So Nickelback, Pearl Jam.
The phrase for it is called yarling. So the whole Pearl Jam voice, I think Pearl Jam is what started. Well, I hope into the sunlight.
Okay, my
Yashasvi,
voice is much higher than that.
Yashasvi and I go to Hidden Place and we like,
We request songs by Creed.
And 3 Doors Down.
Yeah.
yeah, and Hinder, Lips of an Angel.
Yeah,
Obviously.
Lips of an Angel is actually our song.
It's our song.
Interestingly, 3 Doors Down opened for the president on his inaugural day.
What timeline are we living in? What the fuck is happening, man?
In terms of what the fuck is happening though, like, I mean, all these bands aside, Imagine Dragons are everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
I can't watch one sporting event without Imagine Dragons doing like something in the final of that event. Like UEFA Champions League final, Imagine Dragons. World Cup final, Imagine Dragons. I'm like, where's Shakira? Like,
Well, they're the last rock band standing,
I mean,
and they're super safe for children. So
yeah, they are PG
yeah,
10.
yeah, I mean, they just talk about thunder, feel the thunder, lightning.
And the thunder.
You know, there's
thunder.
lightning and there's also thunder.
Yeah.
I am glad that we're informed of this by Imagine Dragons.
Wait, so it's the lightning and the thunder.
And the thunder. Having said that, when their first album came out,
I lost my
into
shit.
it. I was into it.
Yeah,
I was into it.
Radioactive was a good song.
Not just Radioactive. There was a bunch of songs. Even Demons.
Demons, yeah.
I quite liked it.
I can't stand any of those songs now. Now I can't. Like before, I was like, yes, these are great. But I think when you notice that there's a trend with a band, and then you go back and you're like, oh no, we let this happen.
By the way, my audience is gonna be so annoyed at this one. But did you guys check out the new Green Day song?
No.
I didn't. I missed out. I heard so much about it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna listen to it because I love Green Day. But then
They changed the way their vocals sound completely. Like the entire verse is in like this high pitch that I've never heard Billy Joe do.
It's still Billy Joel Armstrong. Right?
Yeah, it's still Billy Joe Armstrong. But he's doing this voice that you won't recognize. It's called Father of All Motherfuckers, I think.
I like that title.
Yeah. It's a good song. I really liked it.
I feel like that's a lonely road to walk, man.
Yeah.
I have this. What do you think about bands like finding a different sound? Because I actually appreciate it when a band kind of switches what they're doing. Because I mean, obviously there are some turns that they'll take that I won't like. That won't be for me. But you know how like there's bands like the Fray. Like when I was a young teenage boy, I was super into the Fray, and all about like it was super edgy at the time.
Yeah.
And
I
like
found God. Yeah.
on the corner of
First time I missed out.
Yeah, and like I just think that all their albums after that just sounded the same. Like if you listen to any Fray album, it just is the same type of song, and it gets repetitive and boring. So I think when bands experiment, it's them trying to just do something new. So
I mean, going off on that, you have good examples and you have bad examples, and a bad example would be Snoop Lion. So Snoop Dogg renamed himself to Snoop Lion and came out with a reggae album, and that was fucking trash. And then you have something like a Linkin Park doing a collaboration with Jay-Z with Collision Course, and that was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's
Collision Course was amazing.
One of the best albums, in my opinion, at least.
I don't know if it was one of the best, but
No,
it's
because
a good album.
I grew up with it, so maybe that's like a nostalgic factor for me.
yeah,
Possible.
I don't even know if it's Linkin Park's best album, but in terms of a collab album, it's it's flawless. And I think like, I mean, Linkin Park, I totally recently I went on like a 1 week binge of, I'll find a Linkin Park song and then I'll go down a rabbit hole of like Linkin Park songs.
What's that album that Tom York and the bassist from Atoms for Peace? I think that's what they're called. Even that one is really good. I quite liked it.
I listened to that one. And then you have Zach De La Rocca from Rage Against the Machine. And he goes he collaborates with, I forgot who he collaborates with, for One Day as a Lion.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
He's rolling with the Prophets of Rage now.
No, Zach De La Rocca's not. I don't think.
Oh no, he's not.
Tom Morello is.
Tom Morello is. Yeah.
And that's not as good as Rage, obviously, but
It's not.
It's pretty okay, I would say. And then you have a band like Tool, which when they came out with an album after 13 years, it still sounds like something like 10,000 Days or Lateralis, which I really like about the band. They They don't try to switch it up for the sake of switching it up. But I do appreciate it when a band kind of breaks out of their sound,
Yeah.
So like Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah, they broke out of their
Oh, that
sound
was-
really bad, like really, really obviously.
But then, people start focusing on at least the parts of the album AM that I liked is, the change in tone, and then people are like, oh, Alex is so sexy.
Well, Alex is very sexy, but that's not the point of
That's
that.
not the point of the album.
No, it's not.
Anyway.
That's
At the
more
risk of
point
sounding like a
other
music
things
snob.
it's more the point of like other things that we watch and consume, like war and things like that. But I feel like I'm on your side. I'm on your second, like this is my second appearance, and in both we're talking about stuff that I'm like completely out of depth with. One, video games, and then now music, where I feel like my all my music is just like, it was Bollywood music till I was about 11, and like with sprinklings of Michael Jackson and like Bruce Springsteen, and like just basically what my dad listened to when he was growing up. So he'd make me listen to those songs. And then I found Linkin Park, and then it was just like, and everyone had known about Linkin Park for years, and I'm 13 going like, hey, have you heard this band? It's really cool. They're like, oh dude, that was like 5 years ago.
Now so my childhood was a little different that way, because when I was 12, I was jamming to like Darde Disco in the car.
Dude, that they discussed this
Yeah,
shit.
Dil mein mere hai darde disco is like literally headbanging in the car. My dad had to like shut me up. But a year later, we got broadband in Brahmapuri, and that changed like that. It was, I think, 2009 or 2010, 2009 for sure, 2009. And I was listening, like immediately I switched to listening to Green Day, and
Green Day was one of my first as well.
American Idiot is the first time I ever saw a music video.
That's amazing.
I clearly remember that
My
because my mind was fucking blown.
My first brush with I want to buy an album was, I think it was 2003, 2004. Eminem, of course, I'm not going to get into Eminem, but Saint Anger, Metallica.
Oh,
That was the first music video that I saw. And I'm like, fuck, I need to buy that. So I go to the music store, and there's a cassette, and it has Saint Anger, and it's got like this fist with a barbed wire around. I'm like, Mom, I want that one. She's like, you look so angry, beta. Like, why do you want that? And then I ended up buying it anyway.
Going on a tangent off of that though, I said that without realizing the title of this episode, but like I wanted to ask you guys, because I am a pseudo guitar player in that I played for like 8 months and then I stopped, and you guys obviously play the guitar and really well. When did you guys go, that sound that I'm hearing, I want to like replicate that? Because for me, when I started playing the guitar, and I got one of those sirs that came over, and he was like, beta hum Bollywood gaane bajayenge. My first song that I played was Neele Neele Ambar Par.
That's a banger.
It's such a
banger
great song.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
such a great song. But for you guys, what was your first like, oh, I'm going to play the guitar now thing?
So I had a kind of similar situation. I was in the 5th grade. I got the guitar, and I had this teacher who teach me only Bollywood music, and I learned Dilbara. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then I stopped playing the guitar because fuck that. And in the 8th grade, I picked it up again, and I remember very vividly, G3 was on VH1. G3 is the show with 3 great guitar players, and they used to pick any of the 3 great ones. So it was Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, and Yingwie Malmsteen. And then I was like, fuck.
But like the interesting thing about that one is that the 3 names you took, by the end of 2019, I'd seen 2 of them live.
Yeah.
And that was like, that blew my mind.
Yeah,
I watched that show.
I watched Steve Vai live, and that was like fulfilling emotionally.
Yeah.
And I missed the Satriani when I was sailing then. But yeah, man, Malmsteen was also pretty fucking good.
You were completing a story. I'm so sorry.
So that's when I decided like, oh, I want to sound like that, and I never came anywhere close to what they sound like. But yeah, that's what like re-sparked my interest, I would say.
No, so the first time I ever heard a song and I was like, "Ye bajane ka hai mere ko," was Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Dude, say like that was one of the songs,
Yeah.
because that was the first song that I could play that was an English song, because it was simple.
Yeah.
No, it was just
Four
like
chords.
four chords song.
It's a classic, that's
Yeah, it's a classic. I still don't get bored playing it.
It's so good. It's so good.
And like literally, I had my dad buy a capo just so I could play that song.
Capos are pretty useful that way.
Yeah, you can play everything in open chords.
Yeah, and everything with Coldplay. Anything Coldplay related, just fucking slide the capo to the 3rd or 5th fret.
Yeah.
Fuck Coldplay. Anyway.
I really like Coldplay, and Madhvi and I constantly, I feel like that's one bone of contention is like, she hates Coldplay. She cannot stand like one sound of like if there's even a hint of like and it was called. She's like, oh no, it's around me.
I mean, now I'm actively conscious of the fact that I'm on Anuj's podcast, and he's got like a viewership, and we don't. So things I say have consequences. So there's bound to be like a Coldplay fan like, oh fuck this guy.
I know 3 Coldplay fans.
Yeah, I mean, to the Coldplay fans, it's nothing to do with the music. It's just I'm an asshole. So
I feel like you should also say that to me because I'm a huge Coldplay fan.
Karan, no.
I'm not. I feel like I was really into Coldplay, and part of it was the girl I liked really liked Coldplay, and I was, you know,
It was all
into that.
yellow?
It was all yellow, and it made sense. Like I was like, yeah. And now you look back and you're like, what's the song about? And it's about yellow.
It was all yellow.
There's conflicting stories about why it is. Someone's like his mother had jaundice or something. That's just
No.
why? Then one is like he wrote this song and he needed like a 2-syllable word to finish like the this thing, and he came up with yellow. I don't know. Urban legends are weird, man.
You mean he came along, he wrote a song for you?
Yeah.
And all the things.
Other things that you do. I think it's about having sex on the beach.
Because if you see the music video, it's just the music video. If the song is infuriating to you, watch the music video. He's just on a beach and he's walking towards you.
Yeah, he's walking towards the camera.
You say sex on the beach, but there's an infinitely better song for that. Sex on the beach.
Yeah, that is an infinitely better song.
I mean,
No, this is about
Karan is
besmirching the name of Coldplay on this podcast.
No, the reason I say that is because so imagine this. Like
Imagine.
somebody gives you a blowjob on the beach and then
And it was all yellow?
it just the sun came up and it was all yellow
Yeah.
from where you were standing or sitting or laying down.
I mean,
Came along.
Was that yellow? Because you need to visit like a urologist if that was yellow.
No, it was yellow because the sun was reflecting off of it.
Oh, okay. That's a lot less upsetting.
Yeah, that's a lot less upset. And you know what? You can sing that at a party and like people will be like swooning to it. You say like I came and it's
Not to continue with Coldplay, but I do enjoy. Speaking of the music videos, I really like the Scientist music video. Have you seen it?
The Scientist
Yeah.
I really like that song.
And it's a good song.
For the 3 Coldplay fans that you mentioned, The Scientist is a lovely song.
And if you watch the music video, it's all in reverse.
Yeah.
And it's like he wakes up in a bed and you're like, what the fuck's going on? And spoilers, you realize that it all started when they had a crash. It was him and his wife, and there's a car crash and she died.
They were stuck in reverse. No, that's a different song.
But I think that's the best Coldplay song actually. If I had to rank them.
I'd rather not rank.
Let's
But
rank them.
Anuj's podcast, Deep Fried Neurons.
This is about tangents, so we're just going.
I mean, I don't really mind. We're what, 21 minutes in? We have a lot of time today.
We have a lot of time. Okay, I'm going to start with so your most popular podcast is the first one that shows up when you go on your page, right?
Yeah.
The murder one on Joshi Abhiyankar.
Yeah, Joshi Abhiyankar murders.
And you said you got flack for that, which is what I wanted to ask you about before we started this. So it was a very objective review of murders, if that's a thing.
It was a statement of facts,
Yeah,
basically.
it was there was no controversial opinion from your side. You're like, oh, murders are good or some fucking shit like that. It was just you stating the facts about something that happened in the city, which changed like the cultural whatever
the landscape of the city. Yeah.
And why did you get flack for it? Why do you think you got flack for it?
So here's the thing. Largely, I don't know. Like I genuinely don't know what people find wrong about it, but I know my regular audience loved it.
I loved it. I really enjoyed that one.
I really enjoyed it. That's the first one I heard of yours, first episode.
So there's 22 likes on that, and there's 14 dislikes.
Why would you do that? Because you're presenting facts. It's an interesting topic. It's not something you learn about, and if you're in Pune, it's an interesting tidbit to know, because you got your first serial killer. That's how you get on the map in India.
Exactly. Like not just on in India, but like when urban legends are formed, they're an integral part of like any urban living place. Like
it's part of places zeitgeist or whatever.
Exactly. Like for example, Chicago has these haunted houses. And they have this crime that everybody remembers, where they were, what they were doing. Like, I mean, not to break any like wounds that are still not healed, but like 26/11, Mumbai remembers that.
Yeah.
Or for example, what's that guy? I did a podcast on him. Psycho Raman.
Oh, Raman Raghav.
Raman Raghav.
Yeah.
The city remembers that. Like that's what I wanted to say, because Pune wanted to be this pensioners' paradise.
Yeah.
And it still does. Go through, you go there, and like they're like, don't make noise. We're sleeping in here.
Yeah.
It's 2 p.m. I don't care. I'm sleeping in here.
Yeah.
And like that's what they always wanted to be. But this incident in particular changed that completely.
And again, back to the podcast itself, it presented everything in a very matter-of-fact way. And you broke down what happened with every case, them breaking in, what they did, how they did it. And I just don't get the flack.
Okay.
Did you get comments? I mean, I get the like to dislike ratio was bonkers. But did you get any comments? Did you get anything in your inbox?
So I got a bunch of comments from regular listeners. These are people I identify because I see their comments and their messages on Instagram and comments on Instagram as well. They were just like, they were having fun. They were like, did you get paid by Anurag Kashyap to plug his movie or things like that? Most of that was that. There was one comment that came recently actually.
The one you sent me.
The one I told you about.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name, but it's still on the channel. She's like, the intro in the beginning is irritating as fuck, and why is there random footage playing that's irritating as well, although your facts are right?
Yeah. So she says good facts, but your video is irritating and fuck your intro. So from before you get into the twist, the plot twist. So this is like, I would say like a consummate internet comment,
Yeah.
like, oh fuck that. I'm going to be very harsh about what I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And then you replied, right?
I replied, I was like, I'm sorry you don't like the intro, but I really liked it. I worked hard on it. My friend did a good job, is what I believe. But if that's your opinion, that's fine. I don't really, I can't really care about that much. As to you, if you didn't like the video, I'm really sorry. Would you please try listening to my podcast in audio? It's available on all major platforms, including Spotify, Apple Music, and iHeartRadio, and all those places. So, that's what I told her. And immediately, I think about 40 minutes later, I get a reply. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you would be so kind about it.
Wow.
I will listen to your podcast in audio just because you said this. And I'm not kidding. Go to episode 17 and look at that comment. It's still there. I highlighted it.
Wow. It's like that. I feel like that interaction is just like a microcosm of the internet. Like you just had like the classic internet interaction on there, where someone just went for you without any sort of they didn't hold back. And then when you replied with something that was, oh, okay, yeah, I take your criticism, fair enough. Suddenly it became like, oh, wait, you're a person? Yeah, you're a person?
How dare you?
Yeah, what's going on here? I just thought you were a wall I could throw shit at.
That was a very wholesome ending, I would say.
Yeah.
It was very wholesome.
Yeah.
It made my day.
And yeah, it takes nothing to be an internet troll, but it's nice that she went like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, we get no. I mean, we don't get much traction on Band Bollywood, but we did promote one of our posts, so we paid for traction.
I've done that once.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is I just don't know who we're reaching, and I think we got a good indicator of who we're reaching, because basically for Mohabbatein you did
and it was a harmless meme.
Yeah.
So it was anytime Shah Rukh Khan plays the violin in the movie, there's that still from Delhi where you're like, sir, ye to tatti hai.
Oh yeah, actual violin players.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Some of the comments are hilarious, because one dude wanted to climb into our butt and destroy us.
Are we allowed to swear on this?
Yeah.
That's why I said butt, because I was like, I'm gonna be conservative with my words. But no, there was another one that said, is that why he owned all this money? What about the violinists? They didn't own shit.
Listen, bro, he's a actor. Okay, he doesn't know how to learn how to play the violin. Oh.
No, so
your comment. I love that you have voices, because he has a voice for dude bros. He has a voice for commenters. He has a Sunny Deol impression. This man, I swear, you could just have him on for an episode where you just do impressions of people.
I actually don't mind that. Someday, for sure.
Fun with friends.
Actually, you know what? The episode, this is where I think you guys, do you guys have any regular commenters yet?
We don't know where we're going to get comment, because we're on Spotify, right?
Yeah.
And Spotify doesn't have a comment section.
Mm-hmm.
And our Instagram is mostly just memes. So we don't have response.
Okay.
So you have audience engagement.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know who the fuck our audience is. So we do get, we have, I think, quite a regular listening group. I mean, we get north of 50, 60 hits
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and our established audience has grown from like 30 to 50 now in the last couple of weeks, I think. But we have, no effective way of communicating.
Yeah.
Well, my audience is like on Spotify. It's low because most people don't listen to it on audio.
I feel like so when I heard your what was the episode name that we were talking about just now?
Joshi Abhyankar.
Yeah, that one I heard on through Spotify, because I'm someone that, like, when I drive, I love listening to podcasts. So I listened to yours while I was driving, and I actually didn't watch the YouTube video. So I would have known about the dislikes instantly, but I actually just listened to an audio, which is such a, like, I wish I'd watched the video as well. But like, there is something. What do you think about? And I'm sorry I interrupted your story, but like, what do you think about podcasts as a medium? And now we're on a podcast and we're talking about it, as opposed to something that's video. What do you find the difference in terms of, like, not just engagement, but how many people it reaches to? Are people in India listening to podcasts? Are they more watching things?
Well, are people listening to podcasts in India? Definitely. Like, I feel like more of the younger people, like 20 to 30 is my maximum audience. And that's what analytics tell me everywhere anyway. But at the same time, they're not consuming content like they do in the West. Like my podcast goes in a lot of educational bits. It's not afraid to go into depth. That kind of content doesn't get a lot of views. But a more conventional podcast about, say, storytelling, they're coming in.
Yeah.
And they've been coming in for a while. Like, it's not rare.
Also, again, to bring up another podcast of yours, the essay of masculinity with Fight Club.
Oh, that's not a podcast. That's a YouTube exclusive.
Like a video essay.
Yeah, that's a video essay.
But you ran into some problems there, right? In terms of copyright.
Oh dear God! Don't get me started. See, this is where, like, you reminded me something that, like, it really, really pricks me, because Fox has paid YouTube to, like, globally ban anything that has more than 30 seconds of Fight Club in sequence from the movie.
So, wow, the editing in there must have been... It is bonkers.
No, so literally editing in general for any video intensive project, even if it looks shitty, is a lot. So, for example, the video I did today, that's a 5-day project of editing. Forget writing and recording and all of that. I think the Fight Club essay was a 2-day complete project. And this was a time when, like, I just quit TIFA. So I was at home mostly. I completed the video and I upload it. It gets banned instantly.
Wow.
Instantly.
Yeah. And I see what parts have they claimed. It's just the parts where there's more than 30 seconds of footage. I removed that footage and I tried to, like, put in others, like fast forward it, do something. And then again, they've claimed another part that was not claimed before. So I edited a total of thrice before that video finally went up.
Wow.
And in the end, I was like, I'm just going to complain about the fact that YouTube wouldn't let me upload this.
You know what's really weird about that? Like, recently I was just watching a video about, like, have you guys heard about Cool Cat? Have you heard about it? Okay.
Go ahead.
This is related. This is related. So there's a guy that made a bunch of really shitty kid movies called Cool Cat. Like, it's Cool Cat and Friends, Cool Cat and whatever. Like, and it's just like some vague knowledge about, these are morals, these are values you should follow. And it's a creepy dude dressed up as a cat interacting with kids and, like, having scenarios with them. Anyway,
So like Barney.
So there's a lot. Yeah. I could go on so many tangents.
Barney, by the way, the guy who's in the suit in Barney's now like a tantric sex guru. Just throwing it out there.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
He came to one of my birthday parties. I don't know if it's this specific dude,
it's...
but yeah, like Barney was part of my birthday party. Anyway, just to get back to Cool Cat, a lot of people that do video essays, criticized Cool Cat and, like, made fun of it and pointed out things about it. And the guy, like, sued them for, like, copyright law or whatever.
It sounds completely.
But there was a whole video essay on why, when you're doing, like, how YouTube protects people that are doing, like, either parodies or video essays. And actually what copyright law says that if you're just doing commentary, you can use footage from it. And that's it's not actually, you're not violating anything because you're using that footage and creating your own content.
Transformative content clause.
Content.
Yeah.
That's the term.
So technically they shouldn't be able to do that to you.
No. So here's the thing. My second meme episode,
Yeah.
like musing about memes episode 2 is about, does anyone own a meme? The answer is of course no, because all memes are transformative content. That one got copyright claimed.
Irony abounds.
And I was like, I don't care. I have like a few Patreon supporters. I can get by right now. And not that earning is my major source of YouTube anyway. I'm doing this for fun. And the support that I'm getting financially is just helping me get through. And because I'm a college student, I'm not fighting this. But imagine if you're an actual content creator and that happens to you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of content that gets squashed, and people's livelihoods get fucked because.
Yeah. So I really want to bring this up, like, because I've brought it up before in the same video. There's this channel called Pyrocynical. Have you heard of him?
I have no idea, dude.
No.
Okay, he's a very Zoomer channel, to be honest. You will love him.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I don't know what your YouTube taste is
I'm
like.
a boomer, so you kids, you can watch your YouTubes and your podcasts. I don't care.
So basically, he had this outro, and it was a beautiful song called Beach Walk by White Woods.
Okay.
And you should listen to that song. It's Vaporwave. So what they've done is they've taken a cover of La Vie en Rose, I think by Nina Simone, I'm not sure. And the beginning guitar intro, they've just used that and they've like slowed it down and they've like made like this wave of volume in it. And they're singing on top of that. It got claimed, and 400 of Pyrocynical's videos are just copyright claimed. All of his revenue fucking denied. The song itself claimed by them. White Woods is not making any money on that.
That's fucking insane.
Because they took just like a part of the song. They sampled the song.
But sampling, I mean, so many DJs sample shit, man. I mean, how does that work?
No idea. That's not it. Like, do you guys know Pokimane?
Yeah.
Pokimane got into trouble for the same thing. She copy-striked somebody because she didn't like the commentary they did on her.
So when you copyright strike someone, YouTube is obligated to take it down regardless of what the content may be?
Yeah, not just that, but you get only 3 copy strikes. How that works is that the first time, that's a warning one. The second time, you get a 2-week ban. And third time, your channel is deleted and you're banned from the site for life.
But you can get like strikes removed, right? That's a thing.
That's a thing. But
yeah, if you reverse the claim, basically.
No, also like if you have no offenses for 6 months after the second strike or the first strike, the strike gets removed.
It's like a wellness policy.
Yeah.
Like someone like an athlete that is like, okay, 3 strikes and you're done.
No, I mean you also have to take in consideration the consequences it has, because banning somebody on YouTube is basically denying them free speech at this point. Like that's how consequential YouTube has become.
Fuck, Jesus.
So
that's heavy.
Yeah, I know, right?
You guys should really watch Cool Cat. I've been meaning to watch them, but also we're watching like bad movies every week, so I can't like invest in another bad thing. But they are like, it's so bad that you're not even thinking about how you can see the cameraman in the reflection. You can see like that the lighting is terrible. You can like hear the people in the back. There's an actual shot. This is amazing. There's a shot where they're filming something. It's like the cool cat and one of the kids, and they're sitting there. They show a neighbor walk out of the door, and he sees what he's like, whatever the fuck he sees, he's like, I don't want anything to do with it. So he turns right back around, walks back into his house. And that's in it. I was watching one of those like video commentary things. I genuinely, that's a series I want to watch. And, I'm officially pitching it to Yashasvi.
Piggybacking on that, there was one episode I remember watching on which is pleading to be an incompetent murderer.
Oh, R versus Khandu.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
so that actually ties in very well with this Cool Cat story. I really enjoyed that podcast. It's just so bizarre, You get these legal cases where they try to set a precedent and like they do bonkers shit like this.
Yeah, it's crazy. Have you heard that one?
No, I haven't.
So for Karan's benefit, just like
okay.
I love hearing this one every time.
I'll run through the facts of this because I mean I don't think my audience will mind. So basically, Khandu killed somebody. He stoned somebody to death, or so he thought.
What?
Yeah, so he hit somebody with a really heavy stone inside their own hut. But he was such a bad murderer that he didn't finish the job. Like, he had the intention of killing this person. And he did the act with the intention to kill this person, and they fell down to the ground. They didn't die.
Wow.
They just fell unconscious and they were bleeding.
This is amazing already.
And then he burned down the hut to destroy evidence.
Okay.
And during the burning down, the body didn't burn down completely and they died of suffocation.
Wow.
And guess what? They didn't charge them with a culpable homicide amounting to murder.
They
He got charged with manslaughter, right?
No, not manslaughter. Basically, culpable homicide.
Yeah.
And
Not
attempted
amounting-
murder.
not amounting to
to
Yeah.
murder.
Wow. So like, imagine like you're going in for a job. And you're like, I mean, this is the great thing about this is I've always wanted a show about, you know how like every show the serial killer is fucking amazing at what they do?
Yeah.
They're the best. The guy chasing them is the best. Everyone's just like
The
very
best.
good.
Yeah.
I just want like an average killer who goes like, oh, performance reviews coming up. Fuck. I'm not gonna get paid this month.
राकेश पिछली बार crowbar से मारा था. बहुत खून खरा हुआ.
Yeah.
I think next time you need to use a gun or something. Sir, you know, when I try to shoot with gun, I can't hit target. So, ठीक है.
I would love that. I would love just like this guy, if they're like, you know, make it look like an accident, and he literally is just like cuts that dude's head off.
You know, that reminds me of the scene from Mulholland Drive.
Oh, it reminds me of the scene from Utopia. Have you watched Utopia?
I haven't watched Utopia
So
yet.
there's a scene literally he's supposed to go and he's supposed to make it look like the guy slipped or something and died, but he ends up stabbing him in the neck like a bunch of times. Like, how the fuck am I gonna make this look like an actually slipped in a pen 37 times?
Killing Eve has that as well, where they tell her, oh, Killing Eve is fantastic, by the way. They tell like the killer, they tell her like, hey, you need to make this look like she suffocated while she was in the hospital. She goes on to like murder everyone, the hospital attendants, the witness that was there, everyone's dead. And then like the guy that's her boss goes like, what happened? Like, I thought you said. She's like, no, it was an accident. She was like, so they accidentally cut their throats and all bled to death slowly.
Yeah, this sounds like me playing a stealth game.
Yeah, like Assassin's Creed, there's no one to witness if there are no witnesses.
No, like even like a game like Hitman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like if I see a witness, even if they're a civilian, you get like a deduction for that because you made such a mess,
Yeah.
and I still kill them because they witnessed it and now they'll raise the alarm and it'll be too much trouble for me.
Agent 47.
Yeah,
Did you like the movie?
we don't talk about
We
that.
don't talk about. No, the one with Timothy Oliphant was pretty good.
It was okay.
It was okay compared to Agent 47. I would say.
Yeah, Agent 47 was just a toad.
Garbage.
So I don't play all these games, but I do know, I have a weird, like in my head, I just know that if it's a movie based on a game, I'm not going to watch it probably because 80% is 80% a good number. 80% of the time they're not good. 80% of the time they're just like a weird, like because the game has so much lore that it's built, right? And already there's all these fans that are like, well, look, there's a full story. You know, Witcher, they like, it's years and years of hard work and literally, what is the country that you said where it's?
Poland. So Poland, the president of Poland, I think, I'm probably butchering this. He gave Obama a copy of Witcher 2.
Yeah, they really appreciate the game.
So imagine that now Witcher comes out. What's it going to be like in Poland? I would guess they won't be thrilled. I have a feeling.
I mean, in one way, it's like, okay, fine, you know, something that's come out of our country, which we're really proud of, is hitting the mainstream. That's great. But in some way, it's just going to be about Henry Cavill's abs.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be like, you know what? Fuck you guys.
You know, like
Henry
the
Cavill
one.
bores me to tears. Yeah, I just don't like him.
Do you have any Henry Cavill fans on this?
No, definitely not. Everybody hates Henry Cavill.
He's a good-looking dude. Like he looks great. I remember his abs are perfect. He looks like Superman.
Is he the Hrithik Roshan of Hollywood?
Yeah.
Hrithik, no. I'll defend Hrithik. I think Hrithik's a much better actor. I think Hrithik's got like we just watched War, man. Come on.
Hrithik is not as wooden as Henry.
That's a fair comment, to be honest. I forgot what I was gonna say. There's somewhere I want to go with that.
The
Mulholland Drive.
podcast with Mulholland Drive.
The scene in Mulholland Drive.
Oh yeah, have you guys seen Mulholland Drive?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And by the way, by seeing Mulholland Drive, do you mean like experienced it? And I don't know what if I was watching a fever dream or if I was in a good way, but I was like, it felt so different.
It's very
well,
surreal.
it is a fever dream.
It is a fever dream. Yeah, it actually is a fever dream.
It is actually a fever dream right before she kills herself.
It is so surreal. And the the only movie which I felt was like, you know, some movies you're like, this is not a movie, this is just something else.
Yeah.
Weirdly was a Big Lebowski for me.
I get that.
Yeah, because I'm watching, I'm like, what is happening?
I think it's because they keep cutting back to a fucking bowling alley, and you're like, Someone died in the last scene and you're polling right now?
The one part where I went like, this is not a real movie, this feels like something's very different about this, is the fact that Flea is playing a nihilist who's dressed in leather and is German. And I was like, what? Wait,
that is hysterical.
I watched it when I was 17 and I was really into RHCP. And the last time I got used to an RHCP member randomly in a movie was Point Break.
Ah, yeah.
And that was very planned.
It's
Like,
Anthony
you could see-
Kiedis, right?
Huh?
Was it? Yeah, Anthony
Yeah, Anthony
Kiedis,
Kiedis. Yeah.
Well, is it like a thing that they do? They pop up in movies?
Randomly. I have no
Band
idea
member?
why.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember too. Like Point Break
Hmm.
is RHCP, and then like randomly The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Flea's in it, and he's like screaming German.
German nihilist.
Like he's saying Arschloch for some reason on the screen.
We are not Nazis, we are nihilists.
It feels like a lazy dream sometimes. Like,
Exactly.
and that's what it is.
No, my favorite part is when Bob Dylan, the song comes on, The Man in Me,
Uh-huh.
and he's just flying. that is actually the best description of being knocked out. You know, because when you get knocked out, you feel like you're floating,
Mm-hmm.
and then you suddenly just come to. It's quite surreal.
That's me waking up from a good dream.
Not to be the one that brings us back to the point, because that's not me. But you were talking about the scene in Mulholland Drive. What scene?
Do you guys remember there's a serial killer she hires to kill? In the end they reveal that it's to kill her ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
In the beginning he's like trying to kill somebody, and then like he sets the office on fire and shit.
I have like a vague memory of that. Also, like I saw it like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
but
that's what R versus Kandu like reminds me of. And I can't believe that this guy got off punishment literally because he's an inefficient murderer.
Yeah.
So that sets a precedent, right? And then they probably try to rectify stuff after, when everyone's like, dude, that shouldn't have happened. So is that does law work in the sense that, you know, once someone gets off on a ridiculous claim, you work to rectify that loophole?
Well, there's something called overturning the precedent. It happens. It happens all the fucking time. Like if you see something like family law, they don't know what to recognize a Hindu marriage as. I'm not even kidding. There's conflicting precedents on both sides for so many cases.
I mean, it's not the ideal religion to set like a set law on, because there's so many different kinds of castes and gods and like practices.
Not just that. The court refuses to believe that marriage is a contract in this case.
Okay.
Like in India, if you're a Hindu, marriage is a sacrament.
Oh.
And that's non-negotiable.
You can't divorce. Fuck you.
No, you can divorce. There's grounds for divorce and everything. But it will be treated not as a contract but as a sacrament.
Okay.
So there is inherent duties to marriage,
Oh, fuck.
which the court has to recognize. Because they
So what are the consequences of that?
of marriage
Like
being
say like a Christian divorce and a Hindu divorce.
there's what's the difference between
Yeah,
that?
like in India, say there's two couples, one of them's Hindu and one of them's Christian, and they both go for a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Not that, like, there's a Christian couple and Hindu couple separate. So what will the experience be like?
It won't be very different. But the laws for judicial separation are a little bit different. The grounds definitely are, especially if they're asking in court. Then like they have to prove that one of the partners is incompatible.
Okay.
Like this is troubling me beyond an extent of functioning for a Hindu marriage. Yeah.
What if your reason was just like, oh, he snores so loud. I am done.
No,
I
not
need sleep.
Not just that. There's actually a trend of like men and women, men more than women actually, to punish like wives who were not compatible they were with, or like other way around. They would refuse divorce by mutual consent, and they would just run off home,
Oh, Jesus.
or like abandon them or whatever.
This whole divorce thing, like I don't even know where to start. Like I don't understand how it works in India. Like it just is so bonkers.
Now here's the thing: not only like divorce is still fine, but where it really fucks up is the inheritance laws. And now the court says you don't even need to be married for us to recognize your marriage inheritance laws. A live-in relationship's enough.
Yeah, live-in relation. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Like, live-in relationship is, in terms of inheritance, is accorded to the same importance as a marriage would be.
And it's in the interest of the kids. But
Think of the children.
Yeah, it's all about the kids.
it's all about the kids.
It's all about the kids.
But in a way, I think it's it's fair in the sense that, you know, in terms of if one of the people die, like a spouse dies, you know, at least the partner is taken care of. Taken care. I don't know how to.
Taken care of.
I can't words.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see why if they're living together, they have, even if they don't have kids, and it's like the partner dies, how do they sustain their life? So whatever, I don't know. It's a bit. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that being a law, I think.
But when it comes to, you know, murky stuff like this,
yeah,
you know,
because there's always a murky.
No, so
side to it.
here's the thing. The way I see it, the contention I have with that, and I brought it up in my professors as well, and they had good answers, to be honest. Is that the entire point of doing live-in relationships is to escape the institution of marriage and showing distrust in it.
if you are not married, one will be awarded to you by the state.
Exactly. That's what this sounds like. But I understand the court's intention here is completely pure because children are born out of wedlock all the fucking time in India. Not only urban people are doing live-in relationships, there are people who are from suburban areas or like even rural areas who are doing live-in relationships that are not live-in relationships as we understand. Like abandoned women living with, say, the teacher. It's an old Bengali novel scene. But it happens. It's known to happen. And sometimes these children are born out of wedlock, and then because the father freaked out, he denies any maintenance to this woman or the child.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fathers that aren't like doing much with their lives and they abandon their kids because they're not ready for the responsibility of marriage, even though or like just dealing with like these kids and this wife, and they're just like, we're not going to take any ownership of this, and they bail, leaving one person to deal with it on their own. So I get that completely. That makes sense.
So I know I'm going off on a tangent, but this is a story worth sharing.
This part?
No, not in my deep fried neurons.
So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, tangent. Based on marriage. So I was literally like going off on this rant in the middle of friends, all known friends. Not all known friends, but like semi-known friends during my college time. And this was right before I started doing stand-up a little bit. And I was just talking about how a lot of dads have fucked up, and that's why we have fucked up kids in our generation. And turns out 4 of them were completely relating to what I was saying, and it was not funny to them at all.
Oh, no.
They were like, there's these fathers who got married because their parents won't stop nagging them, or their father would hold their allowance hostage, and then they have this unplanned child, and then they would be emotionally unavailable for this child, or definitely irritated at that child because they don't have their sense of privacy, and now they're stuck here for the next 18 years.
So you went very specific, and then it hit a nerve.
It hit a nerve on 4 people.
But that's the thing with stand-up comedy doesn't always have to be like stuff that they're laughing at. It could just be like, it makes them think like, oh shit.
Okay, that brings up like an interesting point. I mean, when you're too close to something, and you know someone brings it up in like a setting like a stand-up show, or like when you're talking with friends, how do you respond to that? Like, how would you respond to something which I mean, touches a nerve for you in a very bad way, but how would you react to it?
This is completely unironic, and I don't mean this as a joke. Oof. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what I do.
Big oof.
Like big oof.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but I deflect with jokes and humor and uncomfortable.
Really, Karan? I mean, I've done 15 podcasts with you.
I could not have guessed.
For the life of
I overdo it. Like I'll go like, you know what? Like I'll have like a whole. I feel like I'll be out of body almost, and there's a character now, and he's going all out, and he's saying these really explicit things, and everyone's just in shock, and it's really just me coping with this emptiness inside me, and then everything is dark, and I'm all alone. And what's it? What was it?
You okay there, buddy?
What were we talking about?
It's okay. It's okay.
We're all here.
But that's how it, yeah, but to be like, honestly though, like that's how you deal with something uncomfortable. I feel like I completely embrace it and then also deflect it at the same time. Like I'm embracing that it's happening, but because I'm out of body, I'm not really, it's just that guy who's like overdoing the jokes and like,
it's your coping mechanism.
yeah, it's like some version of Chandler, which makes me cringe, but like, you know, I feel like it's some version of that. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's pretty cringe, bro.
Yeah.
Oof. Oof. Did you know oof originates from Roblox?
Really?
Yeah.
Like the game Roblox?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So the death sound is ooh, and then it became oof.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you send me that graph of the usage of oof over the last 200 years?
Yes.
Yeah, that was... So 1854. Oof was big in the 1800s. Did you know this?
Have you ever, like, you know when you're watching a movie and it's set in like 1854 or something, and someone just goes, "That's nice," or like they'll go, "Good on you," or something, and I'm like, they didn't say that. in
No, they
1854.
didn't.
No way they phrased anything like that. And it's not even ironic, like they're not making fun of language or anything like that. It's not some commentary. It's just the writers.
Let's rock and roll. It's the 1870s. What do you mean rock and roll?
Yeah. Oh god. There's so many movies that do. That's why I can't deal with movies set.
Are you trying to tell me Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter wasn't an amazing movie?
I didn't see it. Although that title sounds fantastic.
It was
There's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
what? I
Yeah.
did not know this.
Dude, no. It's supposed to be a serious movie.
Wow.
You know, these movie titles sound like elevator pitches, but then they just became a title. Like someone went, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. That was just their pitch. And the guy went, that's what we're calling it.
Sir, Pride and Prejudice? Zombies.
Zombie.
Bro!
It's okay. Like, I mean, I was working with this company recently.
Yeah.
And that name is just Comfy Balls. They sell underwear. There's no irony here. They just sell underwear and your balls are comfy.
Okay, they got a plug on my podcast for free.
That's quite on the nose.
One of the, I don't know if I can say this. You can edit this out if it's terrible. But basically, they sent like documents of like, hey, these are videos that you can look at for reference when you're creating like our ad. And one of them was just, it was like a close up, like a solar eclipse close up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pan out to like a mid shot, and it's testicles. There's just testicles on it. There's just testicles.
Wow.
And testicles. That is just like, and very detailed. So like, and then I'm talking to my boss. I'm like, how do you think? She's like, Karan, I don't want to have this conversation with you. And I was like, that's fair. That's fair, because how do you explain that? How did they get those balls there? Anyway, Comfy Balls hit me up.
And for reference, these are animated videos, right?
I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean, like that video that they sent as a reference was not animated. But
What?
we're supposed to...
Those were... Every time you've told me that story, I've been picturing... I don't know why I've been picturing it. I've been picturing animated balls.
Yeah, so we make animated videos, but not like the reference video that they sent us is a video that they made. They were like, this was taken down. I don't know why. I'm like, I feel like I have an idea.
Yeah, I understand why.
Yeah,
I know
get
exactly
it.
why.
Why do you think they took it down? I mean, is this the giant fucking nutsack that was on the screen? What happened there?
At one point, there was like 15 of my coworkers were all huddled around like my laptop, just watching this like solar eclipse scene, and then it's testicles.
There's very few contextual moments where you would justify 7 dudes around the screen watching like
Testicles.
a close up of a nutsack. I think this was one of them.
How did I take us here? I have no idea. I feel like we were talking about something much more meaningful before this.
Well, I don't think my audience minds comfy balls.
Comfy balls.
Yeah, considering a lot of them are men.
Yeah, it was a very like comfy balls. Like they had even the voiceover was very intense.
Comfy balls.
They thought it was funny, so I get it. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, by the way, what are your analytics like? Like age group,
We
gender
have
dynamics?
they're mostly humans,
Mhm.
and they listen to the podcast.
Nice.
I think it's mainly, if I had to guess, it would be something that used to like between 20 to 30. People that have a nostalgia for a time, like we're going to do Soldier next with you. Plug.
Fucking masochists, basically.
I plug your podcast more than this.
I just say, if you say plug, it's a plug, right? If I
Yeah.
say 3 times, then it's a triple plug.
I mean,
It's
the
fine.
podcast that you've been on have always had like a spike, a 10 to 20 listener spike.
Yeah.
So we average around 50,
Uh-huh.
but whenever you're on, it goes to 70.
Yeah, we got Josh is at like 87 right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Josh is killing it. But that's because of Eagle Gang also.
that's true.
Represent.
Oh, by the way,
wait,
Bichu,
you
sorry.
changed.
Yeah, you changed. sorry.
No, it's Bichu.
I still am baffled because you're a Shah Rukh fan, but whatever.
Yeah, but Bichu gang. I think I identify more as a Bichu gang.
Like it's inside. There's a Pichu inside you.
I'm more Tabori than like gangster.
Is it like your animorph? Like you're transforming into
Oh, you remind me of those fucking books. Remember the covers on those books?
Yeah.
Some weird shit.
Oh, by the way, there's something I wanted to discuss on this podcast with
Go
the
for
two
it.
of you.
Okay.
Have you heard the first episode of the podcast?
Have you heard it?
Which one? Like I remember them by titles.
I should have gone sequentially. I feel like I just dived into whatever title was.
Mysteries of Faith and Nightmare. I think that's what it's called.
Oh no.
Nightmares of Faith. Sorry, that's what it's
No, I
called.
don't think I've heard that one.
Okay, so that one was the most intense podcast I did and has the most horrible audio quality. But to this day, the most memorable podcast I've heard from people is that one. Like everybody remembers the first one and they remember glimpses of the others.
Oh, that's similar to ours, isn't it?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, and the reason is very specific in mine. In yours, it's because like you guys are like in your element in the first one. But my first one is a story of child rape told from the perspective of the victim.
Jesus, your first podcast?
That's my first podcast.
On our first podcast,
glad
we
you
talked
eased-
about like Ritik.
I'm glad you eased into it. Like, I'm glad you went, you know what? I'm just gonna go real easy child rape.
Hey, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. What do you think I should start off with?
Oh my god. But what was that like?
What was the reception? I'm very interested in how it was received.
Well, a lot of people who like listened to it because they were like friends of mine. They asked me like if this happened to you, and of course not. I was just narrating like somebody's experience that they told me at some point in their lives, and I added a bit of mine.
Wait, so this wasn't like a journalistic point of view. It was a personal anecdote.
It was a story
of someone.
Yeah, like this is a man. Like imagine this. This is a man at a cafe, telling a story about how when he was a child, when did his abuse begin, and how did it stop.
So when you narrated it, it was like a story.
Yeah, it was a story. It was like it was written down as a story, and I read it out as a story.
And there were like just you as a character, or like just you were reading for two characters, or were you reading?
I was reading from the perspective of one character.
Okay.
Like that's about it. Every character was voiced by me and everything.
That's crazy.
And after that, the one I get for is the fourth one, which is a story of like cosmic horror.
That one I've heard.
Yeah. So I was just wondering how much do you think first impressions count? Because that's the podcast that scared most of the audiences away and kept most of the audience in as well.
I don't know. I mean, I would say, like, for example, with our first podcast, there is not much of a comparison because you dove right in. But I think like maybe first impressions, it depends on what the takeaway is, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that even if you start off on a rocky note, I feel like people that stick around, they see something in you that they liked or they gravitated towards, or a format that they liked, or the stuff that you were talking about. There's always something that they latch on to. So I think first impression, especially in the medium that we're in, we're doing like sort of, giving it some time, and it's not just like a clickbaity thing. I think that it's more of like a holistic thing. What is their holistic takeaway? So I think that first impressions aren't quite in this realm, aren't quite like when you first meet someone and that dude says, "Hey bro, what scene?" and what, suddenly like, I don't want to hang out with that dude.
Oh bro, John bro. I'm guilty of doing that, so like I'm just gonna call myself out on. I see.
Oh, by the way, my parents listen to this.
Hi auntie, joint pain. Of which I have lots because of squats.
Of course.
No, first impressions from I'm gonna go with just your YouTube channel. And at least when I specifically watch YouTube videos, I go in binges of types of videos. So when I'm like on a Bill Wurtz kind of binge and I'm watching these kind of video essays and stuff like that, I will look specifically for that content. And when I find something with me that just clicks, I will subscribe to that channel and I will listen to further episodes. But if I'm on like just gonna watch clips of Bollywood movies because Karan's got me in this fucking quagmire, I'm gonna hunt and look out for those kind of things. So in terms of first impressions, when I listen to something new or like a new podcast of that or a new video essay of that specific type of which I'm watching at the time, if it's interesting in the first minute or two and I like the content of it, I am going to listen to way more episodes. I'm gonna like look up the channel. I'm gonna pick out episodes of like or videos which have the most views, and then I'm gonna systematically go through it. But it's very important that the first video that I stumble across of a particular channel has to like absorb.
It has to get attention.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because there's this video essayist. I don't know if you've heard of Nerd Writer.
Oh, I know Nerd Writer.
I don't like Nerd Writer.
Why not?
Because it's very video essays. It's supposed to inform, but it's just so opinionated, and like his own takeaway is just so up his own ass.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair criticism too.
Yeah.
Nerd writer. I feel like
I mean, no, not to say that his videos. I mean, that's just me being an asshole about things, definitely. But I mean, that particular brand wasn't for me. But then there's this channel that was called Every Frame a Painting.
mm-hmm.
This is about specifically about movies and directors.
Oh, that one. I've heard that one.
Yeah.
That one. I watched their stuff. It's great. I love it.
And that guy, his channels, he doesn't post anymore because he got like a legitimate job in one of these industries or something like that. But his way of breaking down things and his way of giving his own opinion was a lot more palatable to me.
Didn't he do something on Bohemian Rhapsody? Was that him or was that
No,
someone else?
that was
That was someone else.
I,
Okay.
I feel like video essays, if you're giving your opinion, you gotta really tell it to your audience that, you know what, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to
When
tell
you
them that.
spin opinions as facts is when I start losing you, you know?
Yeah.
I start losing a content creator when he's shoehorning his own opinion as a fact. So like this guy would break down, a nerd writer would break down things and phenomena and actors or, you know, comedians, and then he would present what he's saying as like fucking gospel, at least in the videos I saw. And I used to watch quite a bit of his stuff. And that's what kind of put me off.
Okay.
You know what's really weird is like, I mean, that's a very like legitimate reason for liking some. For me, sometimes it's just like the person's voice. Like you have a very soothing voice. You know, like
Oh,
listening
thank
to you
you.
is really nice and like it. Your
Yeah,
dulcet
you
tones.
can listen to it for a while. You know?
Yeah.
Like an hour-long podcast, I can listen to that.
I mean, listening to myself is a nightmare, but that's a whole different conversation.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
You listen to your own podcast. I cannot ever do that to myself.
We are narcissists. We'll send each other like, oh, dude, that bit's really funny. You know, like, didn't you crack that joke? I'm sometimes listening to my podcast, listening to a thing that I said and laughing at it. Like this is, I mean, like, I don't know if you had to define narcissism and they could just play a clip. There's just a recording of me in my car laughing at myself while I'm listening to myself is just like, but I do it all the time. I'm used to my terrible voice.
Karan likes listening to podcasts on the way to work. He's like, I'm going to make my own podcast and I'm going to listen to it on the way to work and I'm going to laugh at myself.
Okay, guys, we're like 5 minutes over the 1 hour mark.
Wow.
So I think this is a good time to like stop this one. Thank you so much. This has been Tangents.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, man. Genuinely, this is your 50th episode, and like I can't believe you have us on. It's a huge honor.
Well, I hope you guys are around after for the next 100th episode. I mean,
I hope so too.
yeah.
I will be dead because of cocaine. But good luck to you both.
Uncle Auntie, he doesn't do cocaine. Just saying.
Okay. Well, if you guys made it to the end of the episode, thank you so much, because this is the longest I've ever done. Like, I've tested my audience's patience before, but never to this extent, never over the 1 hour mark. And I mean, I'm glad that you made it if you did. Special thank you to the person who let me have their vocals twice for an intro, Shivangi Kale. And check out her YouTube channel. It's in like the link is down in the description. And thank you to Yashasvi and Karan, who are bad in Bollywood. You should definitely check their content out. It's on Spotify, Google Podcasts, what have you. They look at old Bollywood movies and they talk about them. It's good content. They're really funny. I'm on 3 of their episodes and I had a good time recording with them. And well, that's that. Have a good year. I have had an amazing year and I can't thank you enough for letting me do this. And I'll keep making content for the audience I have for, well, as long as I can, really. I love you guys. Bye.